covered the first part of the Jason Aaron Punisher run, which was Kingpin. And if you recall, Frank Castle in this version, he's aged. You know, he's big a mess as he's always been, but he's gotten older, he's aged. And the Kingpin, we learned how Wilson Fisk actually became the Kingpin of crime, got everything together, set everybody up, and took over Fisk Towers. Found out that his son was his weakness. I really need my sunglasses. Found out his son was his weakness. Took care of all that by basically letting his son get killed. Caused a split between him and his wife, but Frank Castle is still out there. He's still causing a lot of problems for the Kingpin. So the Kingpin says, I got to get a heavy hitter. I got to take care of this guy. I'm going to hire Bullseye. And that first chapter ended where you see Bullseye. Now, Jason Aaron's take on Bullseye is psychotic. I've never seen a version of Bullseye ever like this. And I'm counting the Frank Miller incarnation. No one has ever done Bullseye as a raving lunatic like this guy. This is a book. We're going to go through it now. We're going to look at it. Be forewarned, there's a lot of graphic violence in this. There's some nudity in this, bad words. It's the whole shebang. Not for the kids. Just, we're going to go through the book. It's going to be chapter 2. We're going to take a look at it right now. Okay, so now we're coming up on the second part of the Jason Aaron, Steve Dillon Punisher Max set. Like I said, this has an Omni, but the Omni is pretty much long gone. I'm losing stuff out of print. It's awesome cover. It sells for quite a bit, but you can still source some of these trades, which are slowly going out of print too. But when we left in the first one, the Kingpin had hired Bullseye. This is a very different take on Bullseye. You know, when we started out, you know, we flash back to a few months ago, and there's Bullseye. He's coming in. He was hired to kill this guy. And he's like, hey, you know, I'm here to kill you. But they've got him stripped, naked, got him on a toilet. And he's got, well, he said he had to take a shit, but he needed to go to the bathroom. Doesn't, you know, doesn't have any weapons. He's completely naked, except he has a little piece shoved up his ass. Uses it, absolutely kills everybody. He takes their guns, kills the main guy. He's got a hacksaw hidden in the pizza, cuts up the guy's head because he's got to show proof. And then that's, you know, the Kingpin decides, okay, I'm going to hire this guy. I need you to kill the Punisher. And Punisher's, we can kind of see through his, you know, he had that big battle with the Mezzanite, and he's, if I pronounce that right, and he's got his own doctor that comes over, and, you know, the guy's giving him some pain pills, telling him, hey, you know, you're getting old. You can't keep doing this to your body. You know, we can only put you up so much. And so the Punisher's like, well, I'm just going to go and stake out the Kingpin, and I'm going to kill him. So he just figures I'll get a snipe on this asshole. Problem is, it's bulletproof glass, and he only gets one shot. Well, as the Punisher's up there, Bullseye's right across from him, and he's got a snipe on him. But Punisher manages to see the little flash, the flash there. Tries to move, but he gets winged in the neck, and, you know, throws off an old smoke grenade, and now he's got to sneak the hell out of there, which he does, and Bullseye comes up, and he's like, yeah, this is going to be fun. So now we cut, and Bullseye's, you know, he's got this guy, he's bashing his knees, wants to know all he can about Frank Castle. So he's finding anybody he can, you know, whether they be a cop or what have you, somebody busted, he wants to know all about him. And then he murders them. Even the Kingpin's kind of like, what the hell? So the doctor's back, you know, he's stitching him up. Punisher's just, you know, I'm going to get this asshole, this Kingpin. And Bullseye now, one of the dirty cops, says, you know, here's one of his safe houses. This is where he killed the Mennonite. I said Mesa, it's Mena. Killed the Mennonite. And so Bullseye tells him, you know, get out. I'm going to live here, and I'm going to sleep naked on this filthy mattress to see what it is about the Punisher. I'm going to get inside his mind. Well, Punisher's at another safe house. He's, you know, throwing away his drugs, and, you know, the Punisher's looking at the Bullseye stuff. Bullseye's looking at all this Punisher stuff, and he's got, you know, he's got all the files on anyone that's ever helped him, and then he finally figures out, you know, I got to become you before I can kill you. So he goes and he sleeps at the, you know, the Punisher's wife's grave, late wife's grave. Now he goes in here to the doctor. Now he's dressed like the Punisher, asks him, you know, any information he can, and then he, you know, he murders him, and, you know, there's another crooked cop getting him some from a hooker until Punisher shoves a shotgun up his ass. He wants to know what's going on. Just wants to know what's going on. Now this guy, now Bullseye, he's like, well, I don't know what it's like to lose a family. So he goes to this random house. He finds the guy, you know, he's like, hey, is it just the two kids, boy and the girl? How old are they? And the guy's like, who the hell are you? Bam. Shoots him in the head, drags the dead body in. And he's like, okay, here we go. I'm going to make you my fake family. I'm going to take you to the park. You know, he's got them all kidnapped. You know, meanwhile, the Kingpin's paranoid. He's sleeping in a different room every night of this big mansion. You know, you don't know what floor he's on, what room. And, you know, Vanessa's still pretty upset that, you know, he, well, essentially murdered their kid. So she's taking it pretty hard, you know, drinking, pilling it up, not doing nothing with him. He's alone. And, well, our crooked cop wakes up and the Punisher, you know, gives him some beef jerky, you know, says, you better eat this because we got a lot to talk about. As he starts snipping off the guy's fingers and then nail gunning him to the wall so he can see him. Bullseye, on the other hand, has now thrown his fake family in the trunk of a car. And as you can see back here, she's mad. You know, you killed him, you killed our son. You know, they take her out and he's like, you know, don't ever touch my wife. And, you know, she's really drunk, you know, so they have some sex. Now he's got off 3 of this guy's fingers. He's got off an ear. Now he's got the gimmicks, car batteries, you know, on this guy's dick. And he wants to know how he can get in to get to Fisk. He's got to find it out. Meanwhile, our Bullseye here is in the park and he's got this all staged. He's like, I said I don't know what I'd do without you. So that's our cue, boys. Lock and load. So now Vanessa, there's some nudity there. She's having some sex. Punisher's watching the news. And now it gets to a pretty... I like the way this is done. You know, he's like, Maria, Lisa, Frank Jr., I love you. Don't ever leave me. Please. Then the Vanessa's telling the Kingpin, open your eyes, because she's about to shoot him. This guy's like, Frank, is that you? So here we go. The hired goons gun down Bullseye and his fake family so we can see what it's like to lose loved ones in the park like the Punisher. Vanessa just unloads one in Wilson Fisk's chest because she was too stupid to shoot him in the head. And Punisher kills our dirty cop. You know, do we do it right? And he's like, I don't know, it didn't work. I didn't feel anything. Guess we're going to have to do it again. Meanwhile, the Kingpin's just kind of mad. Next time you want to kill me, best aim for your head. And he tells her to get out. And then the Punisher, you know, now he's on it. And now at this time, Kingpin's kind of pissy. He's like, listen, you know, I hired you to kill the Punisher, not kill everyone around you. You're killing families in the park. You know, you're killing doctors. You're killing all these witnesses. It's too high profile. So he's like, okay, boss, but I got my plan. And as they go, they're just waiting in the safe house. And sure enough, there's the Punisher. He shows up, starts killing these people. And Bullseye's like, this is what I knew would happen. So Bullseye basically just leaves all these people to die. And Punisher comes in and he's, you know, he's saying, hey, what's your favorite color? Red. It's red, right? Is it blue? Turns out he's, you know, left a little bomb. But when the Punisher goes back in there to go in and kill him because he was in that locked off room, he blew a hole. And Punisher tells these cops are like, you know, what are we going to do? You're under arrest. So he just shoots him in the legs. You know, cops ain't his fan, but he's not going to kill a cop. Vanessa goes out there. She runs into Bullseye. You know, they start kind of talking a little bit, and Kingpin doesn't, you know, he said, this was a mistake. You're no use to me. You're worthless. You know, you're a liability. And he's like, here's a map. He's like, this is where he is. I know his brain. And so now the Kingpin's got his dirty cops going to every safe house the Punisher has. And they're essentially, you know, taking everything he owns. You know, taking his guns, his chemicals, everything. He doesn't have too much left because, you know, they're cleaning him out. And Bullseye, you know, they think they got it now. Even the chief of police, you know, we know where this guy is, and you know, he still hasn't come yet. And Bullseye's kind of weird, you know. He's like, why haven't you come for me? Why haven't you come for me? And you know, that's when even the Kingpin was like, you know, just get rid of this guy. He's insane. He's lost his marbles. And you know, we're outside now the factory. Wilson Fisk's his big tower. And there's the smoke bomb. These guys came in, you know, you fucking nutball. And he's like, he's still just talking out loud to Frank. And he kills all of them. He's not much of a match. And, you know, you got them killed. Frank, how could you let that happen? The Kingpin's like really not amused at all. And now all the cops are busy worrying about this car that the Punisher left full of explosives. Kingpin's just beating up the Bullseye now because he's getting tired of him. And as that's going on, the Punisher now has figured out a way in. He's just going to storm the place. Kingpin and Bullseye are still kind of at it, and that's when he's like, I got it. Frank Castle, I know who he is. I know how to kill him. You know, the Kingpin's like, what the hell's happening? He's like, what's happening? It's obvious. He's here. So Punisher's, he's here. He's in Fisk Tower. He's slowly moving up, and you know, this is kind of what you've been waiting for. Him and Bullseye start shooting at each other. You know, they think they kind of know what's going on. He's got his mask, but the Bullseye's got his axe. You know, Bullseye doesn't miss, so you know they're fighting now. Punisher doesn't have a mask either. Well, they're fighting. You know, Kingpin's telling everybody, you know, just to kill them both. To hell with them. I'm getting the hell out of here. You know. Bullseye actually puked on Frank, which was a really good distraction because he was about to get stabbed, so he threw up on him, kind of blinded him. Now he's kind of got the win. He's like, you know, what are you gonna hear? I have to say, you know, first he was gonna tell him his plan, but Punisher hit the big boot. And now they fought into a construction zone. Bullseye's all happy now. He's, oh, you know, Jesus Christ and everything. He's, you know, who are you? And he's like, did you kill Castle? Slow down, slow down. You wouldn't believe what I had to go through to get this. You know, he's getting in places with the finger. And there comes the Punisher. You know, Bullseye's got the hammer. He's got a gun. Bullseye, he's pretty wounded now. He's been nail gunned up pretty good. Punisher's now just kind of shooting everybody he can. Goes up to the roof, and you know, even the Kingpin's like, just do it. And he's like, you know, okay. But Bullseye gets him from the back. You know, Punisher's got him. He's got the, you know, he's got a axe up to his throat. You know, he's telling him, you know, didn't they tell you, you know, lean something. He tells the Punisher, he's like, I know what you said to her, Frank. You said, didn't you, Frank, old buddy? But they don't say what he said, not yet. So he ends up shooting him. Kingpin fires a bullet at him, and they both fall. And that ends the Bullseye story. They have landed now in Fisk Tower, and you have two unconscious, near-dead people, and the cops are there to arrest them. A few nice black and white shots. And these are some lines the Punisher will not cross. Well, he crossed them in this. This is a very explicit book. This is, if you're trying to collect the Jason Aaron run and you don't want to pop all the money for the Omni that has not been reprinted, I told you a few weeks ago you get Kingpin. Now here's book 2. It is called Bullseye. And yes, as you can see, this is a pretty heavy-duty, in terms of graphic violence, adult book. But this is it. Punisher Max Bullseye. Let me tell you what you can expect in the next part. So chapter 2 is called Bullseye. Like I said, there is an omnibus of this, as I move in closer to my mic. There's an omnibus of this. It's out of print. Marvel hasn't put it back into print yet. They seem to put things back into print regularly. So you can either hold your patience, and hopefully they do. You can spend about $300, or you can start buying these individual issues, like, which is what I'm reviewing. You know, there's Kingpin, Bullseye. There's going to be a couple more after that, which we're going to do. Still also got to do the Punisher issue 2, the new thing. Got to do Uber 2. I think I'm finally going to get around to doing the Crow. Lots of good stuff coming up. Let me know what your favorite Punisher story is of all time in the comments below. I also want you to leave a like. I want you to subscribe. I want you to come back tomorrow. More comic book goodness, more wrestling clips and news. Just stay tuned.